This episode of Fans Talk Lucha Underground has been brought to you by the great members of our community, the Squared Circle of Trust. Because of your help, we're able to afford the cost of producing, hosting, and distributing this content. And we really couldn't do it without you. If you haven't started supporting us yet, and you enjoy your time with us each and every week, please pledge at least $1 a month or more over on squaredcircleoftrust.com. Now, it's time for episode 34 of Fans Talk Lucha. From the Fans Talk Podcast family at fanstalkpodcast.com, this is episode 34 of Fans Talk Lucha. And on this week's episode, we recap and react to Lucha Underground Season 2, Episode 5. Now, Fans Talk Lucha isn't your regular wrestling podcast. It's a documentary in the making where I have a chance to watch Lucha Underground with a non-wrestling fan and talk about our differences in opinions on what went down. My name is Garvin, and with us, as always, is the writer and voice of Kendall on the Suburban Mysteries podcast. It's Steph. Say hello, Steph.
Could you please stop mentioning that I am the voice of Kendall? Let's just forget that.
Okay. We can do that. You can find more about the Suburban Mysteries podcast on suburbanmysteries.com. It is also a part of the Fans Talk podcast family. For those who have pledged $5 a month or more of support in the Squared Circle of Trust, make sure to check out the Patreon feed later this month, as we will start releasing some brand new episodes of Squared Circle of Trust exclusive content. Steph and I, as well as a few other members of the Fans Talk podcast family, are going to do some read-alongs. Lucha Underground, as you may or may not know, have their own comic book. Three books have been released. I don't know what you call those. 3 episodes? 3
comic books?
Yeah, but it's in a series. Is that an episode? I don't know. I don't know the language. Anyways, we're going to be reading them out loud and talking about them as we go. So it should be really fun and interesting. And I do hear that it does explain some things that we've been complaining about as far as where the live bands have gone.
Wait.
What?
We're reading them out loud?
Yeah. Isn't that what we talked about? What are we doing?
Wow.
Well, you'll find out. Join squaredcircleoftrust.com. Pledge your support today. And, we're going to do something. I guess we should talk about that more. All right. So let's go ahead and talk about what happened this week on Lucha Underground. We started off with, a little backstory video package between Pentagon Jr. and Vampiro. It just gave us just an overall history of their relationship. It showed us some conversations between the two, and really just re-established that overall storyline. And basically it also had, Vampiro telling Pentagon Jr. that he had to stop at nothing to get what belongs to him, and that includes Katrina. He cannot allow Katrina to stop him. So obviously, well, maybe not obviously, but to me, it comes off as he needs to go after Lucha Underground Championship, so he has to go after Meal. That's what I got out of it. Our first matchup was Jack Evans versus PJ Black, which was an interesting match for me, only because last time we saw PJ Black, I was not impressed with him. I said, why do we need another Jack Evans? So to see Jack Evans versus PJ Black, I thought was interesting because it definitely illustrated the differences between the two, as well as the similarities between the two. So what was your thoughts on this match?
I didn't want to like it, but I really did. They wrestle really well together, using each other as counterbalance, and it was just very smooth. Yeah,
I mean, overall, I enjoyed it. I thought just the differences between the two and how they work together, I thought was rather nice. As well as like the differences in character. I mean, like they're both very cocky, but Jack Evans is way over the top.
He redid his own introduction, which was kind of baller.
Yeah, PJ Black is still cocky and still with the same general attitude, but a little bit more subdued.
I don't know how you can call a guy who wears pants with wolves on them subdued.
Well, it's not neon green, so there's that. But Jack Evans, like, he went into the corner with, like, this super fantastic 3-flip plus a cartwheel attack against PJ Black, and PJ Black hit him with an eye poke. I thought that was rather...
He was very Three Stooges, yeah. Best move of the match.
Just to illustrate, like, you know, how, like, the differences that they, you know, they had as far as thinking. So Jack Evans was still doing, you know, a lot of the flippy stuff. PJ Black was more or less, I don't know, slower paced, kind of just countering, just, you know, on the defensive, yeah. The match ended, though, kind of strangely. We had Drago. I mean, they kept saying on commentary, Drago is here. There was this guy that was on top of Cueto's old office.
Oh my God, he did not look like Drago.
And no, he was wearing an antelope mask.
He had nunchucks.
Well, Drago does use nunchucks. We've seen those in the video packages.
I suppose.
But the antelope mask was kind of odd. Like, you can't just, for Drago.
Just change your mask.
Yeah,
what
for
the
Drago,
hell?
He's a dragon. Why is he wearing an antelope mask? It was kind of strange, and it was almost like we were the only ones that did not get it. They just did not understand that this is Drago.
I am not sold that was Drago, because Drago does show up again later at the bottom.
Well, yeah,
on the floor with his own mask on, doing the dragon breath thing.
So there is this time loophole thing. So Drago comes down, or the antelope Drago comes down. You don't see him for about 10-15 seconds. Then is at ringside. I think he's still wearing the antelope mask when he's at ringside, but then the camera changes to show Jack and PJ, and then goes back to Drago, but Drago no longer has the antelope mask. It's the regular Drago mask.
Even the body looked different to me. I mean, I could have, if it is the same guy, maybe it was the lighting, but even his body looked different.
I don't know. So I'm not arguing, though, that this was Drago. I am saying that it was just odd. Like, why change the mask? Why confuse?
Well, usually I'm the first to say that two different guys are actually the same guy. I mean, I broke the Kane Taker story, obviously. But this would be a case where I would argue that these two guys that they're saying are one guy are actually two different guys.
Yeah. I mean, there's an obvious opportunity here to introduce an antelope character.
Drago's half-brother or something like that.
Yeah.
I could see it.
Antelope or something.
That's, wow. Your grasp of Spanish is amazing.
PJ Black lost because Drago spit mist into his eyes.
It kind of looked like Mountain Dew.
Yeah, he was going for Jack Evans, but hit PJ Black instead.
They also missed a tie-in with Mountain Dew right there.
Yeah. So, after that match, we went into some commercial breaks, found out that, Steph, you cannot do Johnny Mundo's one-arm, one-leg push-up.
You shut your mouth. I did it perfectly. What are you talking about?
It was wonderful that you tried.
I was swole as fuck, so I don't even want to hear it.
I didn't even want to try.
I did like 10 of them, and I wasn't even sweating.
Yeah. I couldn't do any of them, but I didn't try. So that went into another video package that had Famous B.
I don't know who that is.
Famous B was basically a jobber. I think he was one of the first to get his arm broken by Pentagon Jr.
That sounds kind of familiar.
So he's got a new commercial. He's kind of like a used car salesman. 423 get fame is the number.
I like it.
We did not try to call, but might do so. But yeah, be famous.
I like it.
With Famous B.
I like a good gimmick, and I love a jobber.
Yeah. Next matchup was King Cuerno versus Killshot. We have talked very highly of Killshot as of late. King Cuerno, I think we've been mostly positive about him too. So this match, what'd you think about it?
Loved it. They're so graceful, both of them. They're both wonderful, and they're both so flexible. This was another situation like the first match where they just worked really well with each other. And, as sometimes happens when you're watching wrestling, there was a move that looked like it didn't go exactly like it was supposed to.
Yeah.
And
it's on the internet, it is known as a botch.
They handled it really well. And even the announce team stepped up and took that moment to say, okay, kids, this is why you don't do this at home, which was good to hear because I had literally just, 30 seconds ago, tried to move at home. So that was good, to reinforce that this is dangerous stuff and people can get hurt.
I think Killshot was going for a running cutter, like almost an RKO off of the apron, but slipped and grabbed Cuerno by the arm instead and just pulled him down.
They were both okay, though.
Yeah.
And they got some polite applause, but they handled it really nicely. Went right back into the match.
Outside of that, though, I think this match put King Cuerno in the top 5 for me, maybe even top 4. I made this note that I thought, overall, he has been looking awesome as of late. Definitely a top contender. And last season, I couldn't say that. I think he was kind of boring and bland, and there were others that always overshadowed him, especially like Drago. Drago, to me, was a much better wrestler than Cuerno, but this season, I have to say, Cuerno has completely improved.
He's looking more fit, too. He looks like he put on some muscle.
Yeah. Now,
definitely been working out.
To me, it's just a matter of, who else would fit in that top 4 or that top 5. So you have to put Mill at the top, I think, just because he is the champion. So
really?
That's a default. But, he's also a great character, and, he works well in the ring with that character. So I have to put him there. Second, you might look at...
Well, Puma, clearly.
Well, but that's the issue. Who do you put second? Because the fight right now is it Pentagon Jr.? Is it Puma? Is it Phoenix? Those are guys that should be there. But where does King Cuerno fit in that? I like Puma, but I wouldn't necessarily say he's number 2.
What about
this
Cage?
This is totally subjective.
Cage consistently thrills us every time he steps in the ring.
Yeah, well, so does the Mac.
Oh, that's true.
I would put the Mac above Cage, I think.
I would have to say that I like most of them.
Yeah.
If I could give everyone number 2, I would.
Yeah. So I don't know. Let's think about this and maybe talk about this as we get closer, because eventually Mill will defend the championship against someone. They're building up Cage and Mundo. They're building up Cuerno.
Are you just looking at wrestling ability, or are you looking at characterization, skills on the mic, that sort of thing?
Yeah, everything. Yeah. I'm talking about everything. Basically, what they do in the ring is important from a wrestling standards point of view, but also, they are playing a character. And are they playing into that character as they wrestle, or is it just a name? So, anyways, yeah, we'll talk more about that, later. Not today. Another day. Tejano versus Chavo, Mr. Cisco, and Cortez Castro in a gauntlet match. Basically, Tejano had to get through Cisco and Cortez to get to Chavo. I don't know why he agreed to this match.
He beat Bobby Hill in about 10 seconds, which was hilarious.
Yeah, I'm just trying to... Okay, so complete, transparency. I don't care about anything that happens with the crew or Chavo, so it's hard for me to remember how this was built up. I know all of the stuff with Blue Demon last season, and Chavo was involved in that, and so on and so forth, but I just don't know why he would have accepted this match and what the point of this match was in the end.
There was one moment that made me say, wow. And, I don't really like Tejano either, but Tejano threw Chavo over his head, which...
Yeah.
Chavo's a big dude.
Back body drop.
Chavo's a big dude.
Standard
I was impressed.
wrestling move.
That was a good show of strength. When I think of Tejano, I think he looks like a porn star.
Yeah.
And I also am tired of that rope business. And so to see him just fling someone around like a ragdoll, I was impressed. I, gave him a little golf clap there.
Just to clarify, I'm pretty confident that a back body drop happens in every single match.
Okay. Stop trying to slow me down with your technical wrestling terms.
No, I just wanted to clarify. Yeah.
I guess maybe I'm not used to seeing someone so large getting hurled through the air.
Okay.
Also, Chavo is older than I thought he was,
45.
and that impressed me. Usually when I see a wrestler, I think wow, they're going to retire in a couple years. And I find out they're like 24. It's a hard job. It's hard on the body. People look older, they're sweating. I thought Chavo was like 32. So
32, 35.
It's probably because he sold his soul to the devil, and that's why he looks so young. But, I'm not going to knock it.
Yeah, and also, complete transparency, we spent most of this match talking about Vicky Guerrero and trying to remember where Vicky Guerrero is in the family as far as like all the different relationships. So we've got, Eddie and Chavo and where Chavo fit in that. So
I would love it if Chavo got mildly injured enough to where he couldn't wrestle again, for not in real life, obviously, but his character got injured and then Vicky Guerrero stepped in and took his place. Because I love her.
Yeah.
And I hate him.
No, I think Vicky would be great. I don't know.
She's not technically a wrestler.
Yeah.
But, I don't see much that I like out of Chavo. So to me, it wouldn't matter. She could just stand up there and yell and be her. And I would like that.
Yeah, but I don't know, like, how effective she would be in this setting. Like, this is different than, a large WWE crowd where she's trying to be as loud as possible, loud and annoying as possible. And I don't know if that really fits here. Like, do you need that annoying voice?
She could tone it down. She's an actress.
Okay. I don't know. But I do agree that she's more entertaining. So Chavo wins. Tejano got through.
I bet she could swing a chair, which actually we haven't seen of Chavo yet this season. So,
so Tejano eliminated Mr. Cisco, a.k.a. Bobby Hill.
Oh, yeah, there was some shadery involved with the rope, and they held Tejano down with the rope.
Oh, that was
Did
the
you
end,
see
yeah.
that? Okay.
They, Cortez, after getting eliminated, helped Chavo defeat Tejano. So, now, one thing that I want to do real quick is pull up a Google map and get a radius. You can commentate.
Of what? Okay, so he's looking up 375 miles from Pollo Heights. Only he's actually typing in the correct name, which is Boyle Heights. There was a video package, and it started out with a little subtitle that it was, some distance away from the Lucha Underground temple. And outside the temple, we saw What's-Her-Face Lotus and my man, Dario Cueto, standing outside a facility. So he's looking up possible locations for this facility.
Yeah, it said 375 miles, and I'm not great in geography as far as estimating distances like that.
Clearly.
So, okay, it's not to the ocean. It's got to be the other way.
You don't say. They wouldn't be meeting in the middle of the ocean.
How do I get rid of that? Okay. Then, let's see, is it Bakersfield? Bakersfield is 115, so it's double that. So they're probably...
It could be in Las Vegas.
Outside of Las Vegas, yeah. So let's do this again. Nope. Farther away from Las Vegas. So they could be pretty far away. They could be in Reno.
Oh, home of legal prostitution.
Reno is... too far away. It's like 475 miles. So anyways, it's potentially outside of California. Could be in Nevada, Utah, Arizona, but it's definitely either north or Mexico. It could be in Mexico too, I guess. This is Mexican wrestling, so that would actually make more sense. I just wanted to know. I wanted to, for my own curiosity. So anyways, 375 miles from Boyle Heights. Cueto tells a story of,
it's a story of brotherly love.
Yeah.
Really.
Basically when he found out that he loved his brother and that his brother loved him, and when he also realized how much he loves violence. So the story goes that Cueto's mom was pretty violent and violent against them and abusive overall, and finally Cueto was like, no mas. But he's Cueto and probably, however old at that time. He didn't
like
specify.
10-year-old
but
Cueto.
He's probably like 10 or 15 or something like that. Couldn't really stand up for himself. So his mother attacked him with a hot iron.
Which I took to mean a curling iron, and those things hurt like a bitch.
But we don't know what the
It could have been an actual iron.
It could have been an actual hot iron. Like she could have been a blacksmith or something. We don't know. We don't really know.
I love that image. But you see where this sort of crazy streak runs in the family. So Cueto is stroking that red bull that he's always playing with that was in the office. And let's
call it a maroon bull.
Okay.
Because we don't have a sponsor.
Gotcha. So he's stroking the maroon bull, and he says that is what his brother used to beat his mother to death with after she tried to hurt Cueto. Yep. And, good for him, rightly so.
Yeah.
And Cueto says that's the moment he realized
that he loved violence, yeah.
And Lotus looks a little disgusted at this. But...
Yeah, well, she felt sorry for him, and he's like, don't bother.
Well, you remember that her family was killed, and she felt very sad about it, but here he is talking about his mother getting killed, and he's smiling about it.
Yeah.
But she sounded like someone who needed killing, so I'll smile with him, Yeah. I got your back, Cueto.
Yeah, it's all about perspective, One person's trash, another person's treasure. So, backstage, Pentagon Jr. wants Puma. By the way, there is a ring backstage now. I don't know if we've seen this before.
I don't think so.
Might have. We might have seen this. But yes, there is a ring backstage. Pentagon Jr. was standing in it. Katrina walked over. He basically says that he wants Puma. She says no. Like, why? Like, Pentagon Jr. broke Mill's arm. Like, what reason does she have to give him that match? Like, she doesn't care. So he fights her, tries to break her arm. Some black magic happens. The light goes on and off, and she escapes and says, okay.
I like this scene for two reasons. First, we actually see Katrina in the ring, and she's wearing heels.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe she wasn't really wearing them and they just popped them on for the last shot, but still, pretty badass, right? Second, what they did was they brought back the supernatural element. Mm-hmm. There are a few of us who have been wondering, like, why is Katrina in charge? We don't really get it. And this is to remind you, oh, wait, she's got some kind of, like, witch powers. And so that is probably how she ended up in charge and why she's able to have some kind of control.
Well, and again, I think our understanding of all of this will be explained with the comic books. So I cannot wait till we start doing that. But yeah, I mean, it still hasn't necessarily been explained why they just walked into power. Like Cueto, Black Lotus they escaped for their lives, it seemed. And then Mill and Katrina just took over. I don't know. So hopefully it'll be explained in those comic books. And again, we'll be doing something with those for
but probably not actually reading them out loud.
Squared Circle of Trust content. So yeah. In the main event, Johnny Mundo versus Cage. Thoughts?
I hate Johnny Mundo. Don't like him. So I really liked watching Cage kick Johnny Mundo's ass for 99% of this match. It was great. Tossed him around like a ragdoll. Repeatedly knocked him down on his ass. I loved it.
Okay. So you had me at you don't like Johnny Mundo, but I think you missed a good portion of this match because it was actually, at least from my perspective, it was the opposite. Mundo actually looked a lot better than Cage in a lot of spots, which they talked about in commentary. So Cage was winded, and there was the whole make the match longer, and that betters your chances to defeat Cage. That was
I'm sure I'm biased because I don't like Mundo.
Yeah.
At the very beginning of the match, the announcer said something like, I'm sure we're not going to see any pretty lucha moves out of Mundo this time. And I was like, wait a minute. When have we? Never see pretty lucha moves out of Johnny Mundo. Are you high?
Yeah. I don't know what they meant by that. But at the same time, I will say this was the best Johnny Mundo match that I can remember.
I agree. I liked watching this more than any other match with him in it. And it might have been because I felt, and maybe I'm wrong, but that he was getting his ass handed to him.
And there is that story that's happening right now. Like, this is a much better story with Mundo versus Cage because they both want to fight for the title.
They're both slightly douchey, and so it's good to watch them play off each other.
Yeah, so I think it's, with the addition of this story and the addition of the fact that we do like Cage, both of them going after each other to fight for the title, I like this much better than Mundo versus El Patron to determine who's the face of the company.
For sure.
Like,
that was
dumb.
stupid.
Yeah.
Can we stop and take a moment and talk about the sadness that is Cage's search for identity? I mean, here's a dude who's got to be like in his 30s, right?
No, I'm pretty sure he's in his 20s.
My God, wrestling is hard. But so here's a dude. He's a grown man. He comes out and he's Cage. And then you know what? Being Cage isn't good enough. He's got to tell people, you know what, guys? I'm more than a Cage. I'm a machine. And then, now that's not good enough for him. Now we got another character coming in who's like, I'm a wolf. And I'm a daredevil. I'm a darewolf. And Cage is like, oh, well, then I'm the Wolverine, you know? Because what's going to beat a werewolf? A Wolverine, right? Cage, we like you. We like you the way you are. You don't have to change your name, you know, every time a new guy comes in. I think that you're nice. And I don't think that you should have to keep trying to one-up yourself. That's just sad. I mean, you're a grown man. Figure it out. Learn to love yourself.
Just to clarify, he was born in 1984, so
oh my God, he's younger than I am.
He is 32. So, there's that.
You still look good, Cage.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that you don't look good.
So, Cage looked like he was going to win. However, a new wrestler came down. I believe her name was Taya.
She looked like Rainbow Bright.
And yes, was very colorful. And she slid what looked like a hammer made out of a pipe.
It had a super long handle, but then it had kind of the ball peen thing on the end.
Ball peen?
It's called a ball peen hammer. Wow.
Ball pin?
No, I think it's... Wait, look this up. Let's settle this. Your mom's a ball peen hammer.
Maybe you're right.
Ha-ha, bitches.
Maybe you're right.
Maybe. You mean I am right. Look at that.
Okay. Yeah, so it was like that. It was a ball peen hammer, I guess. I've always called it a ball pin hammer.
I like the way you stress the peen.
Well, how else do you pronounce that?
Not like you're giggling on the inside.
P-E-E-N. It's a type of peening hammer.
Oh, God.
Okay. So, anyways, so Taya came down and helped Mundo win.
She and Mundo obviously bought their pants at the same Ugly Pants factory.
Yeah, apparently it's a big deal that she's in Lucha Underground.
Do you know her from something else?
No. I don't think so. I don't think I recognize her at all. So, but you know, while I am a wrestling fan, I usually stick with WWE, NXT, and TNA. So I don't know much outside of that. Outside of like what I see on Reddit and whatnot. And she didn't, I don't know.
Never seen her before?
No.
So the jury's out on her. We don't know if we're going to like her or not.
Well, she had a nice running double knee attack.
Yeah, that
in the
was a good
corner,
move.
On Cage. That was pretty good.
But whether or not she's entertaining to me remains to be seen.
Yeah.
I'll try not to lump her in with my feelings about Mundo until I see some more out of her.
Okay. So that was the main event. We closed up with a final backstage segment. Cuerno, who is wearing his cowboy hat again, basically says,
bad luck.
Yeah, and he walks into Katrina's office, says, you know what, he's tired of being the hunted. Phoenix won't die. So wants out of the deal and wants to instead use his title shot against Mill. Katrina says no and says that he's fighting Phoenix next week. So deal with it, and it's a ladder match. Done.
I don't know how I feel about the ladder match business. Traditionally, I do not like them, but watching a Lucha Underground style ladder match might be more interesting than what I've come to expect.
Well, we've seen a ladder match there.
Yeah, but Johnny Mundo was in it. He spoiled it for me. They kept yelling parkour.
Yeah. All right. Wins and fails of the week. For those listening for the first time, this is our opportunity to acknowledge both the best and worst things that happened on Lucha Underground this week. So, Steph, what was your win of the week?
Vampiro in glasses. I've got a thing for dudes in glasses.
Yes.
He looked pretty sexy. I liked it. It was a good look.
Okay. My win of the week was Cueto. Cueto in any segment is usually awesome. This segment specifically centered around him, his story, the relationship with his brother, where the bull came from. Great stuff. So Fails. What was the worst thing that happened this week?
I know I contradicted you earlier, but falling on my face trying to do those one-arm push-ups, that sucked, and then I did it again because I don't learn. That was my fail. I'm my fail of the week.
There were many thuds, I remember.
As with most of my life, it did not go as planned.
Yeah. My fail of the week is going to go to the whole Tejano crew Chavo thing. Like, that was a waste of time. I'm not interested in that.
We've just written them off.
Yeah. All right, final thoughts before we head out.
This was a much better episode. The first 3 episodes we watched, I was like, man, this is getting to be too much like your standard WWE style wrestling, which I don't like at all. It's very obvious I'm not a wrestling fan. But they brought back things that I like. There was the continuation of the Cueto storyline. I love him. So seeing him just improves my feeling about the episode a good 50%. We were reminded about Katrina's supernatural powers, which was a storyline they'd kind of dropped for a while.
Yeah.
The video packages were shorter, and I think that they did more. And then right out of the gate, I know I had complained about the wrestling becoming a little too standard last week, but we saw some awesome, more Lucha Libre style wrestling this week, and that's what I was missing. It was much more fast-paced, much better episode.
Yeah. No, I agree. Last episode, I thought we talked about just overall our thoughts on Lucha Underground this season, and we were both kind of negative about it. Not necessarily, completely against watching it, but it was just different. It just wasn't what we expected. But yeah, I think this week definitely did pick back up. So I'm with you. It was a much better organized show outside of Tejano and Chavo and the crew. Yeah, I'm tired of watching the crew. I want to see Cortez, though. I want to see how that storyline plays out. Yeah, with Dick Pornstache. I think that would be good. So it could be good. I just, him playing double duty, no, don't do that. Just drop the crew side of things and pick back up with, Joey Ryan. But yeah, that's it. This series, as well as the rest of the podcast released through fanstalkpodcast.com, are supported exclusively by our Patreon subscribers. And you can subscribe today for as little as $1 a month to receive early access to our content, as well as get your ears on some exclusive content that we produce throughout the month. Did I say that wrong?
Get your ears on? What?
Get your ears on.
Oh my God.
Because we do audio. That's what we do. So yeah.
A DJ from the 80s.
For Steph, my name is Garvin, and we will see you next week. Adios. Fans Talk Lucha is part of the Fans Talk Podcast family. It can be found at fanstalklucha.com. The Fans Talk Podcast family is a subsidiary of Tigar Creative, LLC.